Hi students, today we will study about neural control and coordination, and this is the first part. So every physiological function requires regulation and control. Whatever we are doing, whatever our body is doing, we requires regulation. There should be regulation, no, because regulation is adjustment of amount, concentration, rate and other variables that determine the nature of physiological functions. Further, they must take part at the level according to requirement of animal. So this is done by controlling the process. For smooth functioning of body, the various physiological functions must also operate in a harmonious and coordinated manner. So the coordination is achieved through nervous and endocrine systems. Think you are in the middle of a lecture at your school, but your mind keeps drifting to a last night discussion you have tonight with your parents, and the car you have to pick up at the shop on the way home, and how you wish you hadn't skipped lunch because the rumbling in your stomach is driving you nuts. Then suddenly you are back in the moment, hoping nobody noticed your brief departure. It may seem as if your brain is always on the go. Your brain is always on the go, and it is a brain not only controls what you think and feel, how you learn and remember, and the way you move and talk, but also many things you are less aware of, the like your heartbeat and the digestion of your food, and yes, even the amount of stress you feel. Your brain is quite the juggler. So if you think of the brain as a central computer that controls all bodily functions, then the nervous system is like a network that relays messages back and forth from the brain to different parts of the body. It does this by the way of the spinal cord, which runs from the brain down through the back and contains thread-like nerves that branch out to every organ and body part. So, what is nervous system? Nervous system is an organ system containing a network of specialized cells called neurons that coordinate the actions of a human and transmit signals between different parts of its body. So when a message comes into the brain from anywhere in the brain tells the body how to react. For example, if you accidentally touch a hot stove, the nerves in your skin shoot a message of pain to your brain. The brain then sends a message back telling the muscles in your hand to pull away. Luckily, this neurological relay race takes a lot less time. So, this is all about nervous system. So, nervous system is an organ system containing a network of specialized cells called neurons that coordinate the actions of an animal and transmit signals between different parts of its body. Now, nervous system consists of three main parts, and these are central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system. You can see here in the picture, central nervous system contains brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system goes from your spinal cord to your arms, hands, legs and feet. And autonomic nervous system goes from your spinal cord to your lungs, heart, stomach, intestines, urinary bladder and sex organs, which are involuntary. So first of all, central nervous system. Central nervous system is the largest part and includes the brain and spinal cord, while the head contains the brain. This is the head and contains brain. The central nervous system is enclosed and protected by meninges. Meninges are different layers that enclose brain in itself. The brain is also protected by the skull and the spinal cord by the vertebra. Second is peripheral nervous system. It is a collected term for the nervous system structures that do not lie within the central nervous system. The large majority of the nerves are considered to belong to the peripheral nervous system. And third one is autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is that part of peripheral nervous system consisting of motor neurons that control internal organs. The autonomic nervous system controls muscles in the heart or the smooth muscle in the internal organs such as intestine, bladder and uterus. The autonomic nervous system itself consists of two parts: the sympathetic nervous system that aids in control of most of the body's internal organs like stress as in flight or fight response. It's a thought to counteract the parasympathetic system which generally works to promote maintenance of the body at rest. In truth, the functions of both the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system are not so straightforward, but that is useful rule of thumb. Now, neurons. What are neurons? A neuron is a nerve cell that is the basic building block of the nervous system. As you all know, the human body is made up of trillions of cells. So, the cells of the nervous system called nerve cells or neurons. These are specialized to carry message through an electrochemical process. So, the human brain has approximately 100 billion neurons. Neurons are actually similar to other cells in the body because these are surrounded by a cell membrane. Secondly, neurons have a nucleus. That contains genes. And thirdly, neurons contain cytoplasm, mitochondria and other organelles. Neurons carry out basic cellular processes such as protein synthesis and energy production. However, neurons differ from other cells in the body because neurons have a specialized extension. You can see here the picture of neuron. You can see here. This is one neuron. This is one nerve cell that consists of nucleus, cell body, dendrites, axon, myelin sheath, Schwann cells, node of Renvier, axon terminal. So, this cell of nervous system is differ from other body cell in following manner. First of all, neurons have a special extension called dendrites. These are dendrites. And axons. These are axons. Dendrites bring information to the cell body and axons take information away from the cell body. These dendrites bring information to the cell body and axons bring the information from cell body to the other part of the body. Neurons communicate with each other through an electrochemical process. This is a picture of one neuron. If this neuron has to communicate to other neuron, so it will communicate with the help of electrochemical process. Neurons contain some specialized structures, for example synapses and neurotransmitters. So, this is all about the structure of typical neuron. This is node of Renvier. This is a myelin sheath. In some places myelin sheath is interrupted. This is called node of Renvier. So, this is all about neuron. Now, types of neuron. Neuron can be classified on the basis of number of extensions that extend from the neuron's cell body or soma. First of all, unipolar. What is unipolar neuron? You can see here in the picture. It's a dendrite and axon emerging from the same process. That's why we are calling it unipolar. For example, invertebrates. Multipolar neurons, in which more than two dendrites are present. That's why we are calling it multipolar neuron. More than two dendrites are present. So that's why it's multipolar. For example, pyramidal cells in cerebral cortex. Third is bipolar nerve cells. Bipolar. In bipolar, axon and single dendrite on opposite end of the soma. You can see here axon and single dendrite on the opposite sides of the soma. That's why this is bipolar. And another one is pseudo-unipolar, where nerve cells with the cell body on the side branch of the main axon. In some textbooks you will find pseudo-unipolar and bipolar bits of similar. Pseudo-unipolar is actually a single process that divides into a dendron and axon. For example, sensory nerves of spinal ganglia. So this is all about different types of neuron according to the number of dendrites, or this is all about the different types of neuron on the basis of number of extensions that extend from the neuron's cell body. Next comes glial cell. What is glial cell? So neurons constitute about half the volume of central nervous system, and glial cells, we can also say them companion cells, make up rest of the central nervous system. So what are glial cells? We can also say them neuroglia. These are non-excitable supporting cells of the nervous system. Actually, neurons are accompanied by companion cells called glia or glial cells for housekeeping functions, nourishment, consuming waste products, and insulation. Glial cells, sometimes also called neuroglia or simply glia, are non-neuronal cells that maintain homeostasis, form myelin, and provide support and protection for the brain's neurons. Glial cells are following types. First of all, astrocyte. Astrocytes are concerned with neurotransmission and neuronal metabolism. Second, oligodendrocyte. Oligodendrocytes are involved in the production of myelin, the insulating material. Myelin is the insulating material around the neurons. Next is microglial cells. These are the part of immune system. These cells remove cellular waste and protect against microorganisms. And last one is Schwann cells. Schwann cells are peripheral nervous system structures that wrap some neuronal axons to form an insulating coat known as the myelin sheath. So this is all about glial cells. Next come nerve impulse. What is nerve impulse? A nerve impulse is an electrical current that travels along dendrites or axons due to ions moving through voltage gated channels in the neuron's plasma membrane. Actually, nerve impulse is a wave of bioelectric or electrochemical disturbance that passes along a neuron or nerve during conduction of an excitation. So, nerve impulse is a movement of action potential along a nerve fiber in response to a stimulus like touch, pain, heat or cold. Now, resting membrane potential. What is membrane potential? Actually, membrane potential is the difference in voltage or electrical potential difference between the interior and exterior of a cell. The membrane potential arises from the net actions of ion channels and ion pumps such as sodium, potassium, ATPase, etc. embedded in the membrane, which produce different concentrations of ions on the intercellular and extracellular sides of the membrane. As we all know that in the membrane there is numerous salts like sodium, potassium, chlorides. So all these salts produce membrane potential. The membrane potential that is maintained in the absence of fluctuation is called the resting membrane potential. You can see here when a neuron is not sending a signal, it is at rest. That is, when there is absence of fluctuation, then we will call them resting membrane potential. The membrane is responsible for the different events that occur in a neuron. It's right. All animal cell membranes contains a protein pump called the sodium potassium pump. This uses the energy from ATP splitting to simultaneously pump 3 sodium ions out of the cell and 2 potassium ions in. See, the membrane potential has two basic functions. First, it allows a cell to function as a battery, providing power to operate a variety of molecular devices embedded in the membrane. And second, in electrically excitable cells such as neurons, myocytes and electrolytes, it is used for transmitting signals between different parts of a cell. So, opening or closing of ion channels at one point in the membrane produces a local change in the membrane potential, which causes electric current to flow rapidly to other points in the membrane. So, when a neuron is not sending a signal, it is at rest. When a neuron is at rest, the inside of neuron is negative related to the outside. You can see here, and you can better understand from this picture. So, when a neuron is at rest, the inside of neuron is negative. You can see here related to the outside, which is positive. Although the concentrations of the different ions attempt to balance out on both sides of the membrane, they cannot, because the cell membrane allows only some ions to pass through channels. At rest, potassium ion can cross through the membrane easily. Also at rest, chloride ions and sodium ions have a more difficult time crossing. The negatively charged protein molecules inside the neurons cannot cross the membrane. In addition to these selective ion channels, there is a pump that uses energy to move 3 sodium ions out of the neuron for every 2 potassium it puts in. You can see here. Finally, when all the forces balance out and the difference in the voltage between the inside and outside of the neuron is measured, you have the resting potential. So let's check the resting membrane potential. Finally, when all the forces balance out and the difference in the voltage between the inside and outside of the neuron is measured, we have the resting potential. The resting membrane potential of a neuron is about minus 70 millivolt. This means that the inside of the neuron is 70 millivolt less than the outside. At rest, there are relatively more sodium ions outside the neuron and more potassium ion inside the membrane. So, what are the main points? Potassium ion pass easily into the cell. Chloride and sodium ions have more difficult time crossing. Negatively charged protein molecules inside the neuron cannot pass the membrane because the membrane is semi-permeable. The potassium, sodium and ATPase pump uses energy to move 3 sodium ion out for every 2 potassium ion inside the membrane. And the imbalance in voltage causes a potential difference across the cell membrane called the resting potential. You can better understand from this animation about sodium-potassium pump or resting potential membrane. So let's start. See, 3 sodium ions from inside the cell first bind to the transport protein. Then a phosphate group is transferred from ATP to the transport protein, causing it to change shape. Here it's changing the shape. And the sodium ions outside the cell. Then 2 potassium ions from outside the cell then bind to the transport protein, and as the phosphate is removed, the protein assumes its original shape and releases the potassium ions inside the cell. So, if the pump was to continue unchecked, there would be no sodium ions or potassium ions left to pump. But there are also sodium and potassium ions channels in the membrane. These channels are normally closed, but even when closed, they leak, allowing sodium ion to leak in and potassium ions to leak out down their respective concentrations gradients. The combination of sodium potassium ATPase pump and the leak channels causes stable imbalance of sodium ion and potassium ion across the membrane. This imbalance of ion causes a potential difference between the inside of the neuron and its surrounding, called the resting membrane potential. So this is all about the resting membrane potential.